What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the channel, week 95 of Reselling Online. Now, I'm going to jump straight into what is the top of mind for this week. And it's been an interesting week. There's been a lot of progression and a lot of things that I've been focusing on. Actually, I've been focusing on 4 different things, and we're going to be talking about that today. But the 4 things have been, I've been documenting and tracking the productivity and all the issues I've been finding while trying to, get my workflow perfect. It's never going to be perfect, but the best possible in the new storage unit. Secondly, I've been identifying, the next steps and all the things that I want to be doing and have to be doing in order to get me to where I want to be and to continue to grow. And number 3 has been, I've revisited my cost benefit analysis of, what I thought I was going to get in terms of benefit from the storage unit and how that's actually tracking and how it actually is coming out in terms of, what's my return on investment. And then 4 has been, I've been testing out my new filming views and angles and setups in the storage unit, which is going to, obviously have a big impact for you guys. So there's been lots happening. Jam-packed one. If you've got any questions, comments along the way, chuck them down in the comments. Let's get into it. So top item number 1 for this week was this brand new factory sealed Grand Theft Auto San Andreas PlayStation 2. Now, if you remember, I got this in the thrift for $9. Average cost of goods works out to be about $1.74 for this one. I've sold this for $210.01 all the way over to the US. That includes their postage. I've walked away with $143.92 after fees and postage. This one just blew my mind. Top item number 2 for this week was this Sega Mega Drive console. Now, it wasn't actually working. I couldn't get it to work properly. It would power on but wouldn't get any display. I actually got this one from a bulk deal, and I've been sitting on this for months. I totally forgot about it. I had a whole tub of video game stuff that I've been listing this week and getting that ready for Christmas as well. So this one, actually, I kid you not, the average cost of good of this worked out to be about $1 because it was just part of a big bulk lot that I got. And yeah, I've gone ahead and sold this for $89. Works out to be $55.99 after fees and postage. If I was in the thrift and I found this, I'd probably pay $20 for it, to be honest. Top item number 3 for this week was the A-Team Complete Collection Seasons 1 to 5. I got this from a bundle of DVD box sets from an op shop. I paid $4.32 on an average cost of good for this one. I've been able to sell this for $69, just over that, and I've walked away with $42.68 after fees and postage. And top item number 4 for this week was this Complete Del Toro Quest 2. This one's actually signed. It's a hardcover book. Pretty cool. I paid about $3 for this one in the thrift. I've been able to sell it for $82.95. That's going all the way over to the US as well. And it's given me about $40 back into my pocket after fees and postage. Pretty crazy, pretty cool. Been sitting on that one for a bit. And then the interesting item for this week is the Alcohols Anonymous 3rd edition Australia. This was from a big bulk lot that I got. Works out to be about 60 cents for this book. I've sold it for $25. Nothing super big, but it's just pretty cool to be able to sell. And walked away with about $12 back into my pocket after fees and postage. So how have we progressed for this week? Well, week 95, we've done a total of 53 sales, which isn't too bad. Margin is up there, 54%. Cost of goods worked out to be about $78, and I've sold a total of $1,595, just shy of that $1,600 mark. And profit was $862.30. ASP was $30.11, and average cycle time, it took about 81 days on average for these items to sell. You can see all the items that have been selling for this week. This week has been a lot of DVDs and videos. Also, I've sold a lot of video games. Books came in 3rd for this week, which is actually hasn't been like that for a very, very long time, but it makes sense. I've been listing so much media. All right, so now we're going to dive into how am I managing issues with my workflow. Now, one thing that I've learned, in the last couple of weeks with the storage unit is if I want to maximize my return, I need to make sure I'm maximizing my productivity. Doing things with speed, efficiently, not rushing, but just doing things that make things so much simpler with so much ease, which means I'll get through, the cycling of whether it's picking, packing, and all that jazz. So as I track my efforts, I'm also documenting and capturing any teething issues, anything that hasn't been going to plan, anything that's been frustrating me, and anything that I've needed to address. And this week I've actually had a couple of different issues. On Monday, I got very frustrated when I was doing my picking because I realized that when I had brought some things across. All right, well, as you can see here, everything's all now packed up. Now I'm going to print everything off. I have been tracking the time
Picking took 20 minutes, which is just ridiculous. There was a big boo-boo made there.
It just so happens these are the things that I was, had sold, and that's why I found it out. But there was some mix-up with some SKU placements of where I had put some things, so there was some confusion there. I am still learning a little bit of my muscle memory of where I had moved things, but if it's skewed, it shouldn't take that long, right? So I had put one of my skewed DVD lots into the wrong shelving, so that was a bit of a mix-up, but that's all sorted now. And then I also had some similar issues with the CDs storing.
The other thing is that I need to do is get these CDs out because they're causing a big problem. Got all this wasted space up here. Still got to fill out all this, so we have a lot to do, guys. Still need to get a stool. Still got to do so much. So we'll see what happens.
I had been too lazy to take them out of the tubs and put them onto the shelving yet, which was causing an extra bit of time that was not necessary. So before I came in on the Thursday to do my next round of, pick, packing and posting, I actually fixed all that up. I got all the CDs, put them out, skewed them properly, made sure I knew where they were, and got that happening. And then I also had some issues with the layout of the printer. I was having to
A couple of international that have to go out as well.
Go behind me, move the laptop, and then plug in there. But I've now moved that, and now it's actually in a better spot where I've just got the cables right next to each other. I've set up a bit better cable management. So that's what basically I discovered on the Monday. Now, come the Thursday, as I said before, I wanted to make sure I ensured that all these things were fixed and ready to rumble and into a new workflow state before coming and picking, packing and printing on the Thursday. So,
Alright team, Thursday, 3rd of November. I've just been doing a few little changes around the shop just to fix up a few things. Just been getting this little mount ready to rumble, set up a screen. I've got the iPad now here. And also, after the other day's little issue that I had with some of the CD labeling, I've gone ahead and put them out here now. I still need to update all these labels because each one of these is essentially one of the original tubs that I had with the skewing, so that's still in process. Or in progress, I guess. I've done the games as well, put them all out properly. A couple of extras that have just come today. It's a slow process actually. I'm just doing little bits while I'm here and rearrange some of the things under here. Put the other printer up here so it saves me time going over there. Just little things to help save time, I guess. The bubble wrap is going to be a bit of an interesting one today because that's going to finish. And then I've got to figure out how I'm going to put that on there because it's going to be too big.
I did that. I then also came out with a few other little issues with the bubble wrap. The bubble wrap was working a charm where it was, but then I realized once it runs out, the bubble wrap is actually bigger and it wasn't actually fitting in that position. So I had to do some, adjustments while I was doing that in the fly, but I'm gonna have to think of a way of how I'm gonna be able to manage that from a long-term solution and find the best spot for that. So still figuring that out. Speaking of managing issues, so one thing that is very important, and I will encourage all of you, is to build yourself some level of a register that helps you track all pending things that you need to be doing or that you've got open or things that need to be resolved. I think one thing which, and I'll put my hand up and say it, is, as resellers, we tend to think, oh yeah, I'll get to that shortly. But if something's really quick to address and something's going to save you a lot of time, fix it as soon as possible, or make sure you put on a prioritized list. Now, usually what I would be doing of how I manage this is I like to use Kanban boards. I haven't actually set this up in detail yet, but that's where I'm going for. And a Kanban board essentially is basically just a simple way to be able to track things from an end-to-end state, meaning you have a backlog of all the things that you want to be, identifying there is an issue or something that needs to be resolved or something that you need to take action on. And then you can kind of move it across into what's next, what am I working on, what's in progress, what's on hold, what came up with another obstacle, what have you had to put pause on. And then once you progress through those cycles, then you can make up whatever little iterations you need to or little stages you need to. Basically, you can then put it in the done section and you know that it's all done and you can see what you've done for that week. And that this is essentially just a great way to be able to move through things quickly. And that's what I've been doing. I've been doing it in my head, but I haven't really had too many issues over the last couple of weeks. However, right now I've been thinking about, well, what do I want to be doing next? How am I going to be growing? What do I need to solve for? What do I need to do in order for me to just continue to level up? So I've been doing a lot of brain dump, and I'm going to chuck it up on screen. I won't go into detail behind these, but just little things that are on the top of my mind. So there's a lot of things on my mind, and there's a lot of things that are always coming up. And when you do this, when you pursue forward, when you pursue to grow, when you pursue for better success, there's always going to be more issues. There's always going to be more problems. These are good problems. These are problems that are helping you grow. These are problems that are helping you become better at what you do. All right, so the next area that I wanted to kind of revisit and share with you guys was my cost benefit analysis of the storage unit. And as you know, I love tracking all the productivity like a hawk, and I've been doing that on the storage unit to make sure that I can see that, where that benefit is and what am I getting as my return. And this also helps me enable my thinking, and also getting me into a flow state of focus when I'm there. As I said, I revisited the cost benefit analysis and how it's tracking compared to my original assessment. And I want to quickly share that with you, and it's going to be up on screen. And I do apologize if it's a little fluffy for you to understand, but essentially we've got a couple of different things here. We've got, my activities that I had to, break down what the dollars was going to be and the time. So I've got the before of what I was doing before essentially I was, at the storage unit, and then what was assumed I would be getting in terms of a benefit at the storage unit and that expected difference. So you can see the picking, the packing, and the traveling, and then the total of that, how much kilometers was, the cost of fuel. I was doing that 3 times a week at a time. Was I paying for storage then? No, I wasn't. How much did I assume? How much time was that taking, and how much dollars was that costing me, and how much was I expected to be paying? So that's what it was. Now I've actually, now that I've done it a couple of weeks, I've got a bit more better numbers, and as you can see here, I've now added the actual and the actual difference. So this benefit is actually being a little bit better than what I had originally assumed. Now in terms of how I'm operating, just for a quick little understanding, originally my assumption was I was going to be doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the shop. Wednesdays being after Backpack for Vic Kids. But the way I looked at it was, let's change the way I operate and let's just do Monday and Thursday and bulk batch. So I was able to bring down the time and effort, or the cost of going there and doing those things and bundling it up into a bulk lot. So it turns out storage was actually $500 a month. It wasn't as cheap as I expected. So it works out that on a monthly basis, I'm spending about 12 hours, almost 13 hours doing this based off the current productivity efforts of just workflow and going in and getting this stuff done. This is not including setup and all that jazz. This is workflow state. So in terms of month dollars expenditure, how much is it costing me? Expenditure of, fuel and expenditure of, the storage unit. It's basically $537 or $538. So it's higher than I expected as well. All right, but what I can say though is there's definitely some huge savings. Time taking is so much quicker than expected. The cost of fuel isn't as bad as I thought. Obviously the storage is a little bit more, but the time saved is way better than I originally planned. And basically with this, I've been able to take the numbers and see that, so it's costing me $538 a month to do this. And the work required to do the output is about 12.89 hours essentially. And that's compared to the 25.37 hours it was taking me on a monthly basis prior to this. So it's a huge savings. It's about 12.5 hours of savings per month. How much is it costing me for my return on investment? Well, essentially it's costing me $43 to gain an hour back. So essentially now is I'm investing an additional $500 a month because I was already paying for fuel anyway. I'm getting 12.48 hours back into my pocket. So a little way that we can now look at this and quickly summarize and see the return on investment is something called the ITR formula, which is invest, time, and return. So I'm investing an additional $500 each month to have this storage unit because the fuel is working out to be about net. In terms of time, I'm actually getting 12.48 hours back into my pocket. Now with this is where the benefit comes. On average, my profit per hour, and I'll show this up on screen so you can see, is $53 roughly. This is based on, for this financial year so far, which means this gives me the opportunity of being able to do about $661 worth of more profit if I was able to apply that same time and get the same hourly rate back. So with that, the return is actually looking to be about 132% on the investment, which is pretty good. Now, of course, there's a lot of parameters and variables that we have to put into that. Am I actually spending the time to do that? Am I actually spending the time to grow the business? Am I actually spending the time to put more into the business? Yes and no, and I think that will come over a long period of time. That's not going to be straight away after 4 weeks, and I think that should be very, very clear. And you can see to my numbers haven't gotten back up there yet, or aren't growing necessarily that much quicker at this point. So there's still a little bit of easing that out and smoothing that out, and I think by 8 weeks I should start to see that a bit better, which I've been saying from the start. I need really to give this about 8 weeks to see where things are at. As I said before, I guess the only way to determine the results is the action that I'm putting in anyway. Alright, so that is the cost-benefit analysis, and that is the progress for this week. It's been quite a lot of data and different things that I've been talking about here, but I do love this, and I wanted to share that because it helps you understand my own thinking and the way that I'm approaching this, and I am a long-term thinker in that sense as well, and how I'm playing that game. We're going to dive into some show and tell, and if you do have any questions, chuck them down below.
Oh, we have Grand Theft Auto. This guy going out first. Not too bad at all. We're going to have to weigh him because he is going international. This guy weighs 180. I'm just going to drop that down. 180 grams. All right. Now what we're going to do is actually sleeve him up first. Make sure he is nice and secure. Get him in there, just so he can't go anywhere, get any water damage. Chuck in a little business card in there. And then we're going to bubble wrap him, and then we're also going to put him in a box. Take the space out. Get a box. Stop this bouncing around a little bit. Alright, he's not going anywhere. We're going to tape him up. Now, because he is going international, I want him nice and tight. Got to weigh him again. So it was 180 and 305 SGTA. Done.
Alright team, well that's it. Really do appreciate you being here. Hope you enjoyed that. You have a wonderful day. Cheers.